Before we break down the latest on the Los Angeles Lakers, including some pretty wild trade rumors / hopes for LA, today would have been Kobe Bryant's 44th birthday, which is tragic that he's no longer here with us, and we will forever honor his legacy and his memory as part of the Los Angeles Lakers and the greater whole of the NBA as well. Kobe would have turned 44 and unquestionably goes down, and did go down, as one of the greatest Lakers of all time. It is unfortunate that he's no longer a member, but I know every Lakers fan watching will not forget what Kobe Bryant did and was going to do for LA. So help us honor a true Lakers legend. Type in MAMBA for me in the comment section. Today's Lakers Report is presented by Aura. They offer all-in-one digital safety for you and or your entire family. And they're giving you, the watchers of the Lakers Report, a free 14-day trial over at aura.com/chatsports. We'll tell you more about them, but we got to get into the drama and chaos here around Donovan Mitchell and the Lakers, as apparently LA is interested in trading for Donovan Mitchell, which, yeah, of course, who wouldn't want Mitchell outside of, maybe a handful of teams? Here's what one of the Suns reporters, John Gambadoro, I think I got that name pronounced correctly. A couple things on Donovan Mitchell. The Hawks, Heat, and Kings are not interested, contrary to reports. Knicks have the best package to offer, but other teams interested are Cleveland, Washington, Charlotte, the LA Lakers, and Brooklyn. Also, no, the Jazz never asked for 7 first-round picks. If we're asking for outlandish things, I would like to own an NFL team, as I think that'd be pretty cool to have NFL ownership. And I think that is about as equally realistic as the Lakers acquiring Donovan Mitchell via a trade. Now, unless they're going to trade Anthony Davis, which I don't really think makes a lot of sense for either side in the end. Donovan Mitchell is one of the best players who is hypothetically available on the NBA market. He has consistently been a bucket getter in every sense of the word. 23.9 points per game in the regular season, 28.3 points in the postseason. He shoots a relatively efficient mark from the field, has grown as a three-point shooter. Mitchell is a star as far as I'm concerned in every sense of the word. And with the Lakers, how do I put this delicately? Non-existent assets. That's not something I would find very realistic for LA. So what is the % chance the Lakers trade for Donovan Mitchell? Be honest with me in the comment section. Give me a number you think the Lakers have realistically of trading for Donovan Mitchell. It's the pinned comment on today's show. So if an ad break comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. To be honest, there is pretty much no chance of this happening. I put it at 0%. The Lakers are not going to be able to trade for Donovan Mitchell. The Jazz and trader Danny Ainge love to find ways to win trades and get all these picks and stuff back. And the Lakers don't have those things at the moment. So, no, they're not going to get Donovan Mitchell. I think it's honestly maybe some organizational, just what are you doing? To put a better phrase on it. They're not going to get him. Let's be realistic here. Now, speaking of realistic, Shams Charania, I think this is a little bit more realistic than Donovan Mitchell. He dropped some nuggets on the Lakers' plans following the Kevin Durant news, the impact on the Kevin Durant trade as well. But first, today's show is made possible by our good friends over at Aura. They offer financial fraud protection, identity theft protection, and online and device security for you and up to 5 members of your family. If you're like a normal person, you spend more time online than ever, which means you need to be kept more safe online than ever. You do more online, Aura helps keep you safe. A free 14-day trial when you head over to aura.com/chatsports. That link is in the comment section, and it is in the description of today's show. Here's what Shams Charania had to say on the Pat McAfee Show, by the way. As of right now, the Lakers are open to anything that'll make their team better. I would keep an eye on Pat Beverley, Bojan Bogdanovic in Utah. You can go get 2 to 3 rotation players, plug onto your team, kind of get better with the sum of the parts. Those are the types of moves I think you're going to see the Lakers try to make. I don't think they're done necessarily. We'll break down all those players plus some more ideas on LA. But first, Patrick Beverley, which I guess it's fine. He is the ultimate, you hate to play him, but he's also awesome have on your team as terms of a tone setter. I also wonder this. We know the recipe for winning with LeBron James. You get shooters around him. That is not Patrick Beverley's game. It's kind of more of the same. I don't think that's the right roster fit for Bron at this point. Who is the right roster fit, if you could get him, is Bogdanovic. 38.7% from deep last year, 39, 41. He's averaged the past 3 years, 18.4 points per game, 39.7% from three-point range. Outside of Donovan Mitchell, I would argue Bogdanovic is the number one trade asset the Jazz have because of that shooting ability, or at least is the number one logical trade asset for the Lakers as relates to a potential trade with the Utah Jazz. Other names to consider, Mike Conley Jr., wouldn't it be funny if the Lakers added another old point guard to the roster? Jordan Clarkson, reunion? Who says no? Malik Beasley is actually a decent fit. I wonder if the contract makes it sensible from that standpoint. Of course, it's an issue for Bogdanovic as well. If I were LA, I would strongly consider pursuing an option among the Jazz since I think they're going to be at fire sale in the not-too-distant future. Whenever they trade Mitchell, whether it's now, trade deadline, etc., the Jazz are going to blow it all up. And getting a future Lakers first and probably taking on that bad Russell Westbrook contract, hypothetically, actually isn't that bad of an idea. I also would be remiss if I didn't mention the Indiana Pacers, since they've been linked, the LA Lakers have, to Miles Turner, Buddy Hield for a very long time now, and for good reason. I would love to acquire those two guys. I think they are perfect fits for what the Lakers should look at. And to be honest, let's wait for the entire time, they should have traded for Buddy Hield, not Russell Westbrook all those years, or not years ago, year ago, I should say. But the issue is, what assets? The memes of Taylor Horton-Tucker and a first doesn't actually move the needle that much in terms of good pieces for you. So if you could swing a trade with one of these two teams, who do you think has the better trade assets? Type in UTA for the Utah Jazz or type in IND for the Indiana Pacers. I go back and forth, pretty even for me. I think I type in IND for the Pacers, but I want you guys to sound off for me in the comments section. Now, if and when Lakers news happens, you know that we will break it down for you right here on the Lakers Report. So if you haven't already, hit that big red button and subscribe, and make sure those noties are turned on. Otherwise, you'll miss out on videos and the news that happens in Lakerland. Let's move now to Marc Stein and, Dennis Schroder. And time is a flat circle moment here. Marc Stein reports that re-signing free agent guard Dennis Schroder is a legit consideration for L.A. League sources say depending on how the rest of their roster develops. After one season as a Laker, Schroder played for Boston and Houston last year. So it'll be different this time, he said with an upward inflection implying a question. I don't know what the Lakers are plotting here overall. Schroder was better in LA than what he was with Boston and Houston last year. You know, the points per game dipped, the average, the assists per game dipped, the steals dipped, everything dipped. He wasn't as good outside of, I guess, being a slightly better three-point shooter. I do feel really bad for Dennis Schroder in the end. He fumbled the bag in a way we have not seen since Nerlens Noel lost it. The Lakers, and maybe oddly enough, would both sides have been better off if Schroder just accepted the contract offer LA gave him originally? They wouldn't have gone out and traded for Russell Westbrook, I don't think. Schroder would have gotten paid, and maybe contract-wise it would have been better in the end for LA. But that doesn't mean I want to go get him now. I still am begging LA once again, find a shooter. Let LeBron run point. It's fine. It's what's best for him at this point in his NBA career because he is still one of the best pass-first forwards, guards, ball-dominant guys, whatever you want to say, in the entire NBA. But what do you think? Should the Lakers sign Dennis Schroder? Type in Y for yes, they should in the comment section, or type in N for no, they should not. Finally, it's time for a real one roll call here at the Lakers Report. If you made it all the way to the end of today's video, I want to thank you for making it all the way and watching our entire show on the rather wild and wacky Lakers rumors, because, some things never change in LA. But if you made it all the way to the end of today's video, thank you guys so much. We'll show you some love in the comments section if you type in real one down there right now.